Yo, what's going on, guys? We are back with another video. Today, we are going to be looking at the future of the Vikings here in this NFL playoffs for the 2025 season. I've got one of my best friends here, Blake. He's a diehard Vikings fan, has been his whole life. And yeah, I thought I'd bring him on and kind of hear his thoughts on this team and kind of get, the Vikings fan side of it. So, Blake, if you just want to kickstart us off and just kind of tell us, your history as a Vikings fan and kind of where you're at right now.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, pleasure to be on the show. I know, I think I'm the first guest here, but happy to kick you off in good fashion here. Again, name's Blake, and I've been a Vikings fan. Gosh, my earliest memory as a fan was probably when I was 9 years old. So us going to the 2009 NFC Championship game against the New Orleans Saints. I'd say that's kind of my first
Great
real
game.
memory as a fan.
Phenomenal game.
Yeah, yeah, great. Well, not so great for us with the result, but from there I was hooked. My dad was born and raised in Minnesota, so while I live in Dallas, I still bleed purple, and it's come with a lot of heartache and um, certainly a lot of turmoil over the years. But hey, once you support a team, they're part of you forever, and that's how I feel about the Vikings. So it was never the Cowboys for me; it was always the Vikings.
Amen. Amen. Um, well, cool, dude. So yeah, let's kind of dive in. So, you guys are
Yeah,
sitting at the 5 seed right now. A pretty
yeah,
decent
yeah,
position in the sense that, your first game you play against the Rams. I think that's a very winnable game. Unfortunately, you would have to see Detroit in the second round. After
yeah.
this kind of last week, and kind of having a rough game, where do you think y'all sit right now?
Yeah, interesting position for us. Obviously, we would have loved to have gotten that number one seed and taken it to our division opponent there in Detroit, but that game just didn't go our way from the get-go. But as far as looking forward to the playoffs, I mean, there could be easier paths. I'm not going to lie.
Definitely. Yeah.
Just given that the Vikings lost to the Rams in LA earlier this year, and
That's
it
a good point.
coincidentally get that also happened right after we lost to the Lions the first time. So the only two Vikings losses prior to last week
Right.
were to Detroit and to LA in consecutive weeks. I just hope the story's not, rewriting itself here.
Sure.
But as far as the matchup for the Rams, the reason why I say it could be a little bit easier. I mean, you just got two weapons that come to mind immediately from the Rams. You got Puka Nakua and Cooper Kupp, who, uh, they're a dynamic duo, and similar to the Vikings, Addison and Jefferson, you really got to prepare for them and match that with Sean McVay's experience in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford is a winner too. I mean, those guys won a Super Bowl together, and I could certainly think of easier matchups to
Right.
have first round. One thing I'll say about the Rams though, I want to get your thoughts on it, but so they set the 4 seed. If they would have beaten Seattle last week,
Right.
they would have clinched the 3 seed.
Quick cutout, but yeah, you were making a fair point of, that they could have possibly gotten the 3 seed there, right?
Exactly. So the Rams, they had the 3 seed in their control. They chose to bench Stafford, Nakua, Cooper Cup, etc. I almost, as a Vikings fan, I find it a little insulting. They were like, okay, we're going to play either the Vikings or the Lions, and so be it. And we're not going to put our starters in week 4. I know you don't want to get your guys injured, but they just gave the 3 seed to Tampa Bay, and
Yeah.
now Tampa Bay's got a home game against Washington, which not biased as a Vikings fan, but I'd rather play the Commanders than I
Oh,
would the
yeah,
Vikings
100%.
in that case. So I thought interesting. So I think if I were Kevin O'Connell this week, I might use that uh, as a little bit of a speaking point. Maybe get
Yeah.
your guys fired up and say,
Yeah.
look, these guys sat out and they wanted to face it. They were willing to take the gamble that they were going to play us, and let's make them pay.
Right. No, I completely agree. And I think y'all match up pretty well against this Rams team. You were kind of talking about having Cooper Cup and Puka Nakua as your 1 and 2, and
Yeah,
y'all arguably have a better 1 and 2. And it's not only that,
yeah,
you'll have a uh, good coach. I know McVay's great, but again, coaching, you match up very well. I think your defense is better. I think you have the edge on that for sure. Both teams have decent run games too. I think it'll be a fun matchup, but I'm giving the upper hand to you guys in this game for sure.
yeah. And on paper and off of the first 17 weeks of the year, I think the edge definitely goes to the Vikings. As a pessimistic fan, I've got a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth after that uh, bad loss to Detroit. We don't.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll probably get into this, but the way that Darnold played at Detroit, I was I was a huge. I've been a huge supporter of Darnold. Coming in as this fill in, but he transitioned from not just a fill in quarterback to a guy that you could see signing with the team
yeah,
long
definitely.
term. And for some reason, the Vikings community, it seems like, and myself, that performance on Sunday was so bad
It
that
was rough.
I'm it has me questioning. I knew McCarthy's going to be the future of this team, but for me, Darnold's going to have to take this team and willingly. I think it's a Super Bowl appearance for Darnold to get to earn a position back on this team
Right.
uh, at at a maximum salary rate. Otherwise,
Sure.
he's probably gonna have to explore other options. But man, I've loved having Darnold this year. But
Yeah.
that's just my kind of feel. I'm a little bit. I'm gonna be curious to see how he bounces back this
Yeah.
week.
No, I 100% agree. I think Darnold's had a phenomenal season. And I think you're kind of right in the sense that, it's kind of Super Bowl or you're done. I would almost give him making the NFC chip as well, just in the sense that, you would have won 2 playoff games. And not only that, you would have beaten the
Yeah,
Lions as the 1 seed. I think those 2 wins would probably be enough for me personally. But I get your point of, this team's good enough to make it. Now, clearly, there's other very dominant teams such as the Lions and the Eagles, especially when healthy. But I think Darnold's going to make or break this playoffs, in my opinion. I think the rest of the team is very well built, and I'm not saying that Darnold's
yeah,
one way or the other, but I think that's the biggest factor that y'all have coming into this postseason.
yeah. I think that's a fair point, and recency bias, right? So I mean,
Right,
we come off of a bad game, but I'll probably be sitting here next week, and if they come out and just take it to the Rams and be like, yeah, this is our guy. And you know what?
yeah,
Everybody's got a bad game. Unfortunately, it just happened to be on national TV and what everybody called the biggest
right.
game in NFL history during the regular season. So that's kind of why it has me questioning. But I have confidence in what I've seen from him this year that he can bounce back, and I hope he
Yeah.
takes us on a bit of a run, which would be to be awesome.
No, definitely, and I, looking at the slate kind of for this weekend, I'll definitely be taking the Vikings, especially because I think they're going to give a way shorter line, just because of how bad that game was last week, and I think they're going to just say,
Yeah,
oh, this is the downfall, this is, Sam Darnold, this is the true him. This team's still better. It's a better team. Sam Darnold had one rough game. I'm not going to totally throw him away right now, but I think getting them at a pretty good spot here against this Rams team. I do like it for sure.
yeah. I think that's a fair point. Couple of keys to the game that I think for Minnesota, they've just got to be physical on both the offensive line and defensive line. I think a dire need for us going into next year is to really bulk up and strengthen up on our interior defensive line. We've got really good edge rushers and
Right.
Jonathan Grenard,
Yep.
um, and we've got talent all the way around. Andrew Van Ginkel's come in and had
He's been
a pro
awesome.
a Pro Bowl type season, but we're missing we're missing that ability to stop the run on a command, and when teams like the Lions can in the fourth quarter just start running it down your throat, the defense wears out. So I
For
worry
sure.
about that, and are also on the offensive line. We got to protect Sam Darnold, man, and adjust when teams are doing cover zero blitzes on us. we've got to find a way to one protect him, or if we can't protect him, Coach O'Connell's got to design some quick hitting plays um, that are going to allow Jefferson and Addison to still be productive. Because
100%.
otherwise, if you just put pressure on them and you don't bring them back to the ball, it's going to be a long day. And that's what we saw in Detroit. I have faith that KOC is going to make some adjustments and hopefully take some
Yeah.
some learning points, to put
No,
it nicely,
definitely.
against the Lions.
Yeah, and I think so too. And my personal thought on this Vikings team, just kind of to end this part specifically on the Vikings, is you've got a decently tough first game. I think it's very
Yeah,
winnable. I think y'all can get through it. But this second Lions game, if y'all win that, in my eyes, I think y'all would be the best team left possibly in the NFC. I wouldn't take the Eagles out of the picture, but let's say they might lose first round just because I know Hurts is having some injury problems, and they are going up
sure.
against that Packers team, and that's not a super easy team to go by for sure.
No.
So if y'all make it through that Lions game, what's kind of your thoughts of do you really think y'all have a good chance, and if so, who do you even think you could beat on the other side if you end up making the Super Bowl?
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, we gotta take that first game and take care of business first. But I mean, looking ahead, most likely, I'd say it's if we win. The only way that we wouldn't play the Lions is if a couple of games would go in certain directions. It just depends on how the playoff is reseeded. But let's say we play the Lions again. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to beat a team three times in one year. The
Oh yeah.
Lions have had our number twice, but I would I would have faith in us to put up more of a fight, which is bizarre of me to say for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
I give Detroit full credit for this turnaround that they've had, but man, I think we can get their number. I don't I don't really want to go up to Philadelphia and play on the road. I have bad memories playing in the 2018 or 2018 calendar year, 2017 season
Right.
NFC Championship game in Philly when they beat us 38-7.
Yeah, that was
Um,
brutal.
I could see a Vikings classic choke there.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't want to go to Lincoln Financial Field, but
Yeah.
I like our chances in the NFC, and uh, I think once we get into rhythm, it may get some momentum. I think we're still a team that you don't want to play.
Yeah, definitely. Well, kind of just to cap this off, I posted a video of my
Yeah,
NFL playoff predictions. If you had to pick Super Bowl matchup and your winner, who are you going with right now?
yeah. Well, I mean, as a fan, can you go against the Vikings? I mean, come on.
All right, we'll
Uh,
pick the Vikings in the NFC if you want. Who you got in the AFC?
Yeah, I'm not hell no, I'm not taking the Packers or the Lions. That would
Right.
be sacrilegious. But let's see, out of the AFC, I mean, you gotta love the way Josh Allen's played this year.
Definitely.
Um, I mean, everybody talks about who's going to be MVP. That's probably for a whole nother video. But um, when it's postseason time, you look at one thing only. It's who you got behind center.
Oh yeah.
And when you got Josh Allen, I've confidence in him. This could be the year that he finally gets over the hump and beats Mahomes in a postseason matchup. Obviously, on the same note, you can't count on a team like the Ravens when you've got Lamar
Sure. Oh yeah.
Jackson there, but he hasn't been able to do
Yeah.
it in recent years. I think this is the year Buffalo kind of gets over the hump, and I'd like to see my Vikings match up against
I like that.
against the boys in New York
That'd be a
there.
fun Super Bowl. I'd actually be totally for that. 100%.
Yeah, it'd be a first time Super Bowl champion, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
Either way, because we sure as hell haven't
Which
won any.
is kind of what I'm hoping for. Even let's say Detroit makes it, because I think you and Detroit are kind of my two that I see coming out of it. And again, I'll kind of throw in the
Yeah,
Eagles, but out of y'all two and the Bills, all three of y'all would be a first time winner, which would be awesome to see for the sport for sure. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, Well, I appreciate
Hey,
you coming and talking. This was great. We wish the Vikings fans the best of luck this postseason, and I'll definitely have you back on, whether it's for Vikings or for other stuff. But I appreciate your take, and I completely agree with where you guys are at right now.
well, now I appreciate you having me. Who knows? Maybe I'll go catch a Vikings game if we make it far enough in the
There
playoffs
you
this year.
go.
The last game, last and only game I've ever been to actually was the Minneapolis Miracle back
Against
in
the Saints.
against the Saints. That's the
Yeah,
only Vikings game I went to. So Vikings fans, if you want me at a playoff game, there's a good chance that something special might happen. So
there you
hopefully we
go.
catch fire.
Well, cool, man. Well, thanks for joining today, and yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this little video. Maybe we'll see the Vikings make it. Maybe Sam Darnold will be it. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Let's go.